Minnesota Original is made possible by the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
On this edition of Minnesota Original, photographer Wing Young Huie celebrates a University Avenue neighborhood with hundreds of images in his public art installation. Tom Nechville's custom banjos are designed to improve tone and projection using fewer parts than traditional models. And jazz singer Christine Rosholt performs. These artists and more now on Minnesota Original.
Well, this is just west of, or east of 280. There's 250 photographs on the avenue right now along 6 miles from a block west of 280 where St. Paul starts to a block west of the state capitol. Midwest Hotel, they kicked me out of there. My name is Wing Young Huie. I'm a photographer and I've been photographing the cultural landscape in my home state, Minnesota, for the last 30 years. I've been told that Snelling Avenue and University Avenue is the busiest intersection in Minnesota. It's the epicenter of University Avenue. The University Avenue project, this will be a 6-mile exhibition of photographs that I've taken of the people that live, work, go to school, worship, and play in the neighborhoods connected by University Avenue. This is a really large-scale project that a small nonprofit organization like Public Art St. Paul can produce something of this magnitude is really incredible.
This part of the project we've sort of come to call the projection project. Wing wanted to have an opportunity to have someone experience, in a sense, the totality of the project on one place at one time, and then of course encourage them to take that 6-mile walk or parts of it along the avenue, but it's kind of a locus. And so part of the conceptual issue was, how do we draw people's attention to this spot?
What we did was we built a model that was fairly simple, but got the main components together. We start to install the components, which in this case are the shipping containers, in a manner that actually starts to have some presence on the site. The centerpiece of the exhibition will be a outdoor nightly projection onto a 40-foot screen that's installed on stacked metal shipping containers. It's about 8:19. I think twilight starts about 5 minutes, and that's when the show goes on. After doing Lake Street in 2000, which was a big chunk of my life, and wasn't sure whether I would do something like that again, because it takes so much energy and so much money. Now 3 years later, here we are, and it's a large-scale project, even more ambitious than Lake Street, in fact, because there are so many partners involved. And so we put this one, so go with the chalkboard essay, since we could use any of them. That makes sense, huh? The Minnesota Historical Society is publishing this work as a 2-issue magazine. This is the first issue that we've laid out, magazine number 1. We wanted something that would be very accessible, that would really flow from what the exhibit is. Have a street sort of raw presence, sell it for $12. University Avenue it's a microcosm of what we're becoming. You have one of the most diverse populations. You have communities that have been here for many generations. No matter how you slice up urban living, it can be found somewhere on University Avenue.
There's nothing to know, there's no one to miss. The longer I roam, the colder it gets. Alone, slowly I grow with the hole in my chest, the size of my head.
Well, the chalkboard questions, I wanted to ask questions that were ambiguous and open-ended. What are you? How do you think others see you? What don't they see? What advice would you give a stranger? What's your favorite word? Describe an incident that changed you. How have you been affected by race? A lot of what I do, I'm alone. I mean, I interact with thousands of people, but I'm an independent artist. And so to be in this collaborative process, because you think about all the people who are behind the scenes, you're really collaborating with everyone that I photographed. It's thousands of people that are involved with this photography exhibit. So to be that connected to that many people for, I can't say it's a single purpose, but for something like this is, I just feel very fortunate. Growing up in Minnesota, you know, people would ask me, you know, where are you from? I would say, oh, I'm from Duluth. People say, no, where are you really from? And I said, really, I'm from Duluth. It's an innocent question, but it implies a lot. It's assumed that I must be a foreigner. I think there are times where my family or myself, we felt that I wasn't a true American, wasn't a true Minnesotan, growing up in the land of Lake Wobegon. But the realities of what I am and how I'm perceived bumps into the perceptions of what Minnesotans are on a regular basis. So for hyphenated people like me, there are hundreds of thousands of people who bump into this, the myths of the state. So in a way, what I'm trying to do is create a new iconography, one that fills a gap between the perception of who we are and the reality. When I'm photographing, I'm just reacting. And I don't think about whether this is good or bad or happy or sad. This is just life. I'm just trying to translate what I see into this language of photography. The meaning of a photograph, I think, changes. They change as the person looking at them changes. Most people think of a photograph as a window, like this is your window into the world through this photographer's eyes. But I think they're just as much, if not more, a mirror, because people only see what their life experiences enable them to see. People see what they want to see. So I think this photography exhibition is a mirror that shows University Avenue to itself and to the larger world. And it's up to whoever looks at it to decide what it is. Hi, are you familiar with do you know what's going on here?
No, I'd like to know.
This is a project that I worked on for 4 years in public art. I think with all the changes that are happening on University Avenue, with light rail coming through, $1 billion coming through, no one really knows all the full impacts. And so this could be the last record of what University Avenue was like. So we want this to be a social space.
Did you say every night?
For 6 months.
Consecutively?
Every single night for 6 months until the end of October.
No kidding.
We started on Saturday.
You gave them a chalkboard. What did you tell them to write?
Well, I came up with a series of questions that I thought would not be easily answered. And so the questions are, what are you?
Really?
How do you think others see you?
Right.
What don't they see?
Right.
What advice would you give a stranger?
Cool.
What's your favorite word?
Okay.
Describe an incident.
Here's one I wrote called Keep On Playing. A lot of parts in the banjo. It made me realize that the banjo is really sort of an inefficient machine. And I think the gears started turning back in the early 80s. Well, how about a banjo head that screws on like the cap of a jar? A totally different kind of banjo rather than trying to copy the banjos that had been around for years. Well, here we are in the Nechville shop where we're storing wood and letting it dry. I've got walnut, maple, mahogany, and rosewood that we use for various purposes, mostly building necks and tone rings. I started playing banjo when I was 17, and I reached a point where I became a tinkerer and a builder. I built my first traditional banjo back in the early 1980s. The main difference between this and a traditional banjo, it's not only aesthetics, but it's mechanical. This is a traditional banjo that has traditional drum hardware, and this has been around for probably 150 years. I'm trying to simplify the design to keep everyone's banjo more tunable and more ready to play. And this is the main invention that really sets Nechville's banjos apart from the others. There's really only two kinds of banjos in the world. There's Nechville, Gila mounts, and then there's traditional banjos. So the design is pretty simple. It's the head goes in. Think of this as the cap of a jar. And then if we want to screw this on, we have to have something to screw it onto. This would be considered the threaded lip of the jar that screws in. And we're going to put something in between there, the tone ring. Now this is a metal and wood tone ring system with a Teflon strip. And we pop that in place. The retaining ring is threaded. That screws in. And you turn that, get that started. And then once that gets started, then we have wrenches like this to tighten it up with. I don't have to tighten each individual hook and nut. I have one mechanism that tightens the whole banjo at once. So if I had all the parts in front of me, I think I could probably put one of these together in just a few minutes. The standard design does require a lot more time to get all the nuts and hooks equally tight. You don't hear the hardware, you just hear the part that was made to make the sound. And the tone that comes out is a pure sound. It's less metallic, edgy sound. It's fuller. Okay, I'll get the fingerboard off here. And here's what it looks like after it's finished. We've sold banjos to the Dixie Chicks, Keith Urban, some major country bands. When I delivered the banjo to the Dixie Chicks, I was up on stage and delivering the banjo to Emily, and they asked me to play it through the mic as the sound man was setting up the stage. And I heard him say, "Nechville, I love you," because it was so easy for him to EQ the banjo and get it sounding right over that big auditorium sound system. The banjo has gotten stereotyped and pigeonholed, and so now the sound of a banjo is often cast off as, well, that's hillbilly music. But in the hands of a good artist, the banjo can really transform your emotions. This is an armrest, and I will buff one of these out. I love the creative process because I'm not expected to follow the mold of previous builders. I've been the lone ranger in the field of banjo design. The neck connection on the Nechville gives the player more choices of where his action should be. In other words, that's how the distance of the strings off the fingerboard. Loosen this heel and notice how it slipped forward, and then tighten it back up. And then you see that the strings have some distance away from the fingerboard. I love all kinds of music, but I certainly like seeing the banjo in new environments. And so my goal is to see the banjo incorporated into ethnic musics of different cultures. We see the banjo being used in highly composed music played by orchestras. I love seeing the banjo as it's growing and changing. Something like that.
Good. All right. Yes, great, great. I'm Carl Flink, and I'm the Artistic Director of Black Label Movement. Today we're going to be working on a piece that is being built from scratch. It is going to be kind of examining the idea of an interrogation, possibly a moment of torture. So it's going to be go to maybe some rough places, and we'll see what happens. Great. Okay. So continuing on with the idea that let's say whoever that one person claps, the other person should land on top of them. Okay. In case of Brian, if you're that person. Okay, we land. We're gonna push. Actually, if Crystal and Pat, in this moment, if you could have a kind of some type of shock that sends us, that gives us the cue. You okay?
Yep. To go to cue to go up.
Yep. Cue to go up. Then that sends us. I'm gonna push you this way, and then I'm going to come back to this person, and I'm going to try to stand on her thighs. Every one of the movers that you see in Black Label Movement are people who, when I first saw them as dancers or performers, I kind of responded to the fact that I saw them as a creature. The kind of mover that attracts me is a person who's very in contact with their inner animal, where I see an instinctive quality to their movement rather than one that's very head then do, that they're people who just do things. The thing that we're trying to find is a little bit of a sense of, yes, this is the central figure that we're kind of doing this around, but eventually it also becomes about the two people having their encounter with this person even leaving in some ways. Like, what is the tension between not only this trio, but these two people who are the questioners? I feel like the concept of dance brings a lot of kind of social baggage with it. It evokes, people in flowing gowns, on point shoes, and I want these people to be just kind of coming at this as a practice of movement. We're not trying to turn it into necessarily something that's specifically refined and crafted as dance, but is more just embraced as for the sheer movement of it. So going from this idea of there's this really gentle, soft, oh, I love your arm, it's so wonderful, and we're pulling it out, and then let's give them, so we get the tension on their body, then we're going to twist that hand up, slide down, put the hand in, and then torque it. When I'm working with the movers, I am fascinated in how that other body is processing the information I'm giving them. So I'm not looking to see what I had in my mind. I'm looking to say, here's a set of problems. How do you wrestle with it? And how do they then give that back to me? And I say, oh, I see, that's a direction I can go with your body. And I might have an idea, but the idea isn't tantamount. It's not the one that's trying to force them into a certain box. I'm allowing them to change my ideas. My initial physical training was as an athlete. I was a very serious soccer player, and I'm very interested in the fact that in sports, hitting an impact and that kind of danger is very acceptable. It's part of the process. It's not from a macho standpoint, it's just part of the process of playing. And in the dance realm, in many areas, that's not an accepted part of this world. And so one of the things that Black Label is trying to do is bring that kind of physical dialogue into this space safely.
See all the artists featured on Minnesota Original anytime on mnoriginal.org.
Seeing my grandfather as the well-known artist that he is has helped me see what I can be and go even farther beyond that.
I'm really proud of who she's become.
Don't tell me that time is a healer. Time will never heal this broken heart. And when April comes along, I know that I'm not strong. I go right back to the start. There's laughter, and maybe for one moment I'm back when all the days were good. Then quickly as it came, just like when I call your name, I'm like a child lost in the woods. Will you come tonight when I am feeling lonely? Will you be there in my dreams if I should sleep? And when I cry, will you dry my eyes? Hold me tight till the night dies. Just say you will. Heal this broken heart. Heal this broken heart. Blossom on the trees, the sun is shining. A time for new beginnings and brand new starts. The world, it moves along in this
Coming soon to Minnesota Original.
I mean, this is my first show at the Walker, and it's like, okay, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere sort of thing. It's that version for Minnesota. It really is an elite thing.
Minnesota Original is made possible by the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.